Today was our first Let's Get Crafty, and the original plan was to show off 3 things that you could do with the toilet paper roll, and through our conversations we actually came up with 2 more. So this video has 5 things that you can do with toilet paper rolls, crafts, home organization, gift giving. Pretty awesome. So let's jump right in to the 5 different things that you can make using these toilet paper rolls that are sitting around your house. Let's go. First project we worked on was a phone stand, and since our meeting I've actually made some modifications. So we previously had tried wrapping paper, didn't hold together as well. The ones with tape did hold together fairly well in terms of decoration. I think the wrapping paper was just a little bit too thin. So for this one, I am going to be using some craft foam that I had left over. I just took and measured to the width of my toilet paper roll and trimmed it to that size. I have 2 toilet paper rolls, 2 smaller pieces of foam that are big enough to cover the entire end. A pair of scissors. I'm going to move away from the glue stick, which we had tried before, and instead use the hot glue gun. I think that's going to be much more efficient. First thing is to cut this in half, which previously done, just holding it in place. Cutting it the same process that we'll use over here on this one. And we're going to flip it over and exactly across from where we cut it before. We're going to cut it again, so it's exactly half of the 2. So I'm going to go ahead and take my hot glue gun and run a bead of hot glue right along this whole side here. And I'm going to take it, open this up, and align them just a little bit inside, just enough to get it stuck. And we're going to take this part right here, wrap it back around to about the point where it was cut. It might be a little bit smaller, but we'll try not to crumple that too far in. This provides a larger bounce area, a larger area of which you're going to relax on without falling over. I'm going to put a bead of glue, hold this over, right sides aligned as best I can. The sides here are lined up fairly close to where it started. The next thing we're going to do is give this little squish. I'm going to glue right along here and put our ends on. That will stick pretty fast. While that's sticking, we can do the second side. If you decide to use the tape, you can just cover these ends. I suggest covering the ends or covering the rest, especially if you're doing the tape. It will give it a more uniform look. Or if you do not want to cover the ends, you can always run your foam cord right through that or store your foam cord in there. Next up, we're going to follow right along edge and trim back foam to match the edge. And then our goal will be to take this green foam, start in here where the 2 pieces come together. Our goal will be to wrap it all the way around and then across the half and back around. We will do that using our hot glue. So we're going to take our hot glue now and run a bead right along here. We're going to attach our foam right into that crevice there, remembering to align it left and right so that nothing sticks out too far. I'm just going to run some beads of hot glue down as we go to make sure that it stays attached. And it automatically just starts going right into that fold, which is our next step. Again, trying to keep it aligned. What I would do at this point is just hold it back to figure out the length that I'm going to need. Just hold that. Give that a little bend. If you are a person who particularly likes other designs, you could put strips of washi tape on there or use Sharpie just to draw some doodles. And there we go. So this is the cross art. To do this project, you need 4 toilet paper rolls. So glue stick, or if you are a glue gun family, you can use a glue gun instead. A pair of scissors, a ruler, a pencil, and I found it really useful to have some of these clothespins. I'm going to take my toilet paper roll and squish it down. I'm going to measure every ½ inch. Take it to the other side and do your lines. And then you take your scissors and just line it up from line to line, cut apart. And you'll want to do this for all 4 of your toilet paper rolls. Find the shape you want in your toilet paper roll. It'll make sense as we go. Take your glue or your hot glue and put a little glue up near the corner. Take another one and line up those points so that they line up together. And then I just stick a clothespin right in there and that holds them together. And while one is drying in place, I can do the next one. And again, the more precise you are about those points being lined up so that this ends up being flat, the easier it will be when it's time to attach the other ones. So once we have all of our pieces like this made, like have X's, then we can put a little bit of glue where those two pieces come together and then match them up with the same side. And by this point, I can usually just take the two pins I already had, and I usually just take a peek to make sure that all of the 4 points are kind of all coming together in the middle so that it looks neat and not sloppy. We'll do that again on this one. And in the end, I want to have 6 X's. I'll set those 2 aside to dry, and while they're drying, we'll take some ones that I made earlier, and what I can do is just put a little glue on the points, and I'm going to align them with 2 other points. Again, just clipping them together. And I can take another one that is the 2 X's together, and again, just put a little bit of glue on these edges and align them with those points, and you start to get these circle shapes where the X's come together. So then we'll come back to our 4, the first one that we made, looking at the second X. We're just going to align the X's here, so you'll have 1 above it and 2 below it. So you put a little bit of glue, just align those points again. And this might take a little bit of wiggling to get it right into the right place. This piece, I'm noticing, is a little bit shorter than this piece, so what I'm going to do is just pull it up so that the tops match up. What people will see is the tops matching up. They won't necessarily see what's on the back side and whether the back side lines up perfectly or not. So I'm going to do that on this one as well. Slide it up and match it up so the tops match up. And then we'll do the same thing on this side with our last one. While the glue is still wet, there's a lot of flexibility. Now, to add a little bit of flourish to this, we're just going to add 1 more piece in each of these ends here. And we can kind of give them whichever shape, put them down as far as we want or out. My goal is just to try to stay consistent. I'm going to put it about. I kind of like the look of it being down near the bottom, so as long as I can get them all down near the bottom there. Again, we can just take another pin and squish it. That will look more squished right now, but when I unclip it, it will not be quite as squished. When I first saw this one, I saw it on somebody's wall and it was painted black. I thought it kind of had like a wrought iron feeling to it. So you can decorate it any way you want. I have some extra teal spray paint. So I will spray this one teal, but you could hand paint it in many different colors. If you have lighting gel, or take something like a wax paper and color it in and put those behind to make it look kind of stained glass like. You could cover it with different kinds of washi tape or color it with crayons and markers. To color them, it might be more effective to take a toilet paper roll and paint or color the whole thing before you slice it up, and then you just have to do the insides. Yeah, there is a toilet paper roll. This project is the pencil holder or other organizer for supplies. For this project, you will need whatever you would like to use as your decorative paper or design for the outside of the toilet paper rolls. You'll need your toilet paper rolls, however many you want, for your organizer that you can cut to various heights. This is a great project to use toilet paper rolls that may have dings or dents in them or cutoffs from other toilet paper projects. You'll also need your base. This is a great time to look in your recycling bin and see what you have left over from a previous project, or from if you have finished off a box of cereal or a box of oatmeal or something and you have some extra cardboard. You'll also want a pair of scissors, a regular stick glue, a hot glue gun, and then I'm just going to use this clip measuring out the sides because I want it to be the same width all the way around, but you can use other items. I'm going to start by covering my toilet paper rolls with shiny paper And I've already cut it down to width, and I cut it just a little bit longer than the toilet paper roll itself because my plan is to fold it in just a little bit. So what I'm going to do is to put some glue right here on my toilet paper roll, line up my bottom end, and then wrap this up to the glue, roll it around, and put another little bit of glue on here, and roll it until it sticks. And then I can see where my glue mark is. So I'll go just at my glue mark and hold it on. If you're using something thicker than this kind of paper, you can also use clips or paper clips or a hot glue gun. You could also just put your rubber band around there. That just whatever you need to hold it in place. So then I'm just going to fold this down inside. If you want, you could glue that in place. I am not going to glue that down because I do not expect my pens or markers to pull it out coming back up. So again, just put some glue on there, line it up, bottom edge, tight and roll it, check where my line is, pull back just a little bit, and then just double check to make sure that I got it as far around as I thought I have. No worries, if we make mistakes, we can fix it. I can peel this one off, save this for one of my shorter ones, and I can try again. Trim it back, and if there's a little bit of a loose end, just put some more glue in. And I would put the glue on the wrapping paper and fold in that top. Give it a little bit of an edge. So I am going to use the short one that I messed up on for one of my shorter pieces. See if I wrap it all the way around. Now it will work just perfect. So we'll go ahead and I'm going to leave this one the same height because I know that the rubber band might not always sit as far down in, and so I want to push the paper in a little bit further. You might see a little bit more of that. This right side. I've got 3 out of the 4 covered for this little teeny tiny one, and I'm going to fold it down pretty much all the way in, so I'm not going to trim it down. But if I didn't want to fold it in, I could just take this paper and trim it down to the height that I wanted. I'm going to line it up with this pre-cut edge versus the edge where I have trimmed, just so that the bottom edge is nice and even. Then fold this down inside. You might have noticed that it's a little too long. We can take our scissors right here at the bottom and trim it off. So now I have 4 silver tubes. The next thing I'm going to do is to decide how I want to lay them out. I want 2 taller ones and 2 smaller ones. And I think I kind of want almost this square configuration. So I'm going to use this marker. I just wanted an even amount on each side. And then I will use my scissors just to make a little notch here so I know that I want it to be that way. And this cardboard is the box from which I sprayed the cross in earlier. So this I am reusing from spray painting. I'll put them back on here, measure out this side back here to make sure it's the width that I want away from the edge. And again on this side to measure that it's the width that I want. And then just put a little notch in so I know where to cut. I originally thought that this project would be a good candidate for using the glue stick on, but it really does not give it as strong a hold as you might expect because there's just these thin edges here. It works best with the glue gun. Once my glue is hot, just run a bead around the edge. I'm going to make sure that the back edge where my seam is facing the back. Going to put it here. I just put these 4 clips here to be a visual reminder so that I can keep my pieces in the middle about even. And I'm just going to continue and do this process knowing where my seam is in the back using my nice hot glue. So being cautious not to injure myself. Hold it in place until the glue cools. At least is sturdy enough. And again with my little ones. I am not going to finish my edges on this one. But if you wanted to finish your edges, you could use washi tape or duct tape or anything that you think is pretty. If you wanted to cut fringes or if you wanted some other design besides the square, that is also an option. I've placed these so closely together, I really do have this kind of center section here that I could place something else if I get a note or something while I'm working that I need a special spot to put. Remember, don't be limited by this just being a pencil holder. You could make them with shorter pieces using similar number of tubes, but having many more and spreading them out for if you are doing beadwork, if you are working on a Lego project and know that you're going to need to sort your Legos. Or if you are a person who does the rainbow loom, easy way to sort all of the rubber bands for that project. There are many different ways to use this project. So here it is, all filled up with my pens, Sharpies, rubber bands, and paper clips, as was my goal. Way to organize your cords. With this project, you are going to need a box or supply unsorted cords, a toilet paper roll for each cord that you want to organize, some scrap paper or washi tape, or however you want to decorate your toilet paper rolls, Sharpie, a pair of scissors, and a glue stick. So I'm going to take my cords and set them off to the side for now, but I counted them ahead of time and I have 5 things in here that I would like to sort, so I provided 5 toilet paper rolls. So as with the pencil holder, this is another project where if your rolls have some dots or blemishes, it's not a huge deal because you're going to cover them over. And I chose this paper because I really like the striped looks that it has and how it will create a striped pattern. You'll get a similar look if you choose to use washi tape. So the first thing I'm going to do is to figure out how tall my toilet paper roll is on here. And it looks like my toilet paper roll goes to 1/4 set of dotted lines here. So I'm just going to use that as my guide and cut all the way down. In this case, I'm going to choose to put this yellow section so that it looks like a nice place that I can write my label on it when I get to that. And glue right here on my paper. Try to line it up as evenly as I can with top and bottom since it should be the same size. And because this is going to get picked up, I'm actually going to throw some extra glue right on the roll so that paper stays firmly planted. As I go around, I'm just trying to keep it as close to the lines as possible. And then I'm going to cut it as close to this. Again, I'll just throw some glue on here, line it up as carefully with the edges as I can. Extra glue on the roll. It's got this nice straight black line here. It is very easy to tell exactly where my page should line up. If you notice this little pull, and since my plan is to put things inside, I am going to just trim that back just a little bit. And if I notice that that's becoming a problem, I'll just put some glue underneath there. So I'm going to do the same thing for the next 2. So I'm interested in this pink section right here being on my tube. So I'm just going to make sure that it lines up right there. I'm just going to cut right along that pink line. I got this one cut down to the right size. I'm going to fold it in half. As I roll, I'm just watching these edges to make sure they stay fairly aligned. As I get back the edge here, using my similar patterns to line up exactly where to go. I'll do the same with the next one. And I have one left. Bring our cords back, take a look at what we have, angle them as we go. So I have lightning cable, a set of headphones, a USB charger, an HDMI, and a mini-to-mini audio cable. And as you see, normally they just make quite a mess. So what I'm going to do is to label them. Of course, whatever cords you have are the cords that you will label for. Now, all I have left to do is to coil my cables. Cables will probably already have kind of a natural size that they want to be. So following that guide will keep your wires inside happy. It's a little bit larger of a loop than the other ones. So I know that this one will stick out a little further on the ends. So it will go much flatter, act more like kind of cuff that these kinds of cables sometimes come in. Some are going to be more like this cuff, situated really nice that I can just set it right up on my desktop if I wanted to. It's something I'm going to use, but I don't want it to get tangled with the other things that I'm doing, or I can very easily and neatly put them away very easy to store, very easy to read what they are. So this project is the gift container project. So you will start, of course, with the toilet paper roll. You'll need some glue, ribbon. It can be curling ribbon or cloth ribbon. You'll need a pair of scissors, a piece of paper that is about 2 inches by 6 inches, and whatever your gift is that you want to put into your tube. These tubes are just too short than a gift card, but if you were looking to send a gift card, you could use a paper towel roll and cut it down. So we take our toilet paper roll and we squish down one side and squish the other side down with it so that the end kind of creates this almond shape. We put whatever our gift is inside. You might choose to do that later on, but since my gift is so tiny and easy to manage, I'm going to do it this way. Then I just fold the other side in the same way. Fold one side in, fold the other side in. And now we have this kind of like pillbox shape, almost like a little pillow. And so then really everything else is just for decoration. So I'm going to take a little bit of my glue stick, or a little bit of glue on the end of my paper, and stick it kind of in the middle on the back. And then I will wrap it all the way around and glue it again and stick it together. And since I haven't glued these edges to make sure that my item is going to stay inside and that my flaps won't just flap open at any point, I'm going to take a little bit of ribbon and wrap it around. And if you wanted to go more simplistic, you could just go with a little bit of line, or you could hand decorate the tube if you did not want to use paper. There are all sorts of ways that you can make this look fancy and personalize it to whoever you wish to give a gift to. And then, of course, the best part about having gifts is giving them to someone.
Aw, thank you.
Thanks, friends, for checking out this demo video for Let's Get Crafty. I know that the Thursday night schedule doesn't work for quite everybody, so I'm glad that you can make some things. I hope you found something useful between the organizational skills and the art that you're excited to make. For the first 5 people who post pictures of something they made out of the toilet paper rolls, we'll send you some craft supplies so that you can keep getting crafty. On October 22nd, we will have our next Let's Get Crafty, where we will have a guest crafter who will come and demo finger crocheting. So hope to see you there and keep getting